We have a breaking update on a Charlotte murder suspect. Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools says the man charged with killing his wife this week is an employee at Southwest Middle School. Police arrested 61-year-old Eddie McCollum Monday in connection with his wife's death. Officers say that McCollum called authorities after the incident, claiming the gun he used was on the stairs inside the home. The shooting happened on Cardington Court, just off Sunset Road. Tammy McCollum died at the scene. Eddie made his first court appearance today and is still being held in jail without bond. CMS officials say he is suspended without pay, and the suspect worked as an assistant for the exceptional.
The night after Easter Sunday, 2026, a 911 call came in to Charlotte Mecklenburg Police. It wasn't made by a neighbor who heard a scream. It wasn't made by a stranger who stumbled onto something horrible. It was made by the man who allegedly pulled the trigger. Tammy McCollum was 58 years old. She was a pastor, a minister of the gospel at the Well Worship Center in Statesville, North Carolina. She was the kind of woman people talk about in hushed reverence, kind, vibrant, full of light. The kind of person a church leans on when grief comes knocking. She was also a wife, married for over 30 years to Eddie McCollum. Just 4 years ago, Tammy posted on Facebook on their anniversary. She said she was blessed and honored to have married this man. She called him an amazing man of God. She said she was looking forward to the next 100 years with him. Those words now sit frozen in time, a digital monument to a love that, by April 6, 2026, was gone. Tonight, we are going to walk through the life of Pastor Tammy McCollum. We're going to look at the night she died, at the husband now charged with her murder, and at the question that her daughter, and frankly, all of us, cannot stop asking. How does a 30-year love story end at 2 o'clock in the morning, in a pool of blood, in your own home? Before we talk about what happened to Tammy McCollum, I want you to know who she was. Because she was not a headline. She was a person. Tammy McCollum was a 58-year-old minister at the Well Worship Center in Statesville, North Carolina. But she wasn't just a Sunday figure behind a pulpit. She was the kind of pastor who was in it, all the way in it. Church members remember her passion for worship, her heart for God's people, her willingness to show up for anyone who needed her. Audrey M. Ingram, a community member, posted video of Tammy worshiping and said her personality was full of light. She said Tammy loved serving the community and left a lasting mark on the body of Christ. But ministry wasn't the only way Tammy showed up for people. She also worked at Ulta Beauty at the Belgate Shopping Center in Charlotte, on and off for about 8 years, and the tributes from her co-workers there are remarkable. Van Appleton, a salon owner and master stylist, said he worked alongside Tammy for several years. He called her one of the most kind, vibrant, and caring people he had ever had the chance to know. She deserved so much better than this, he wrote. Her co-worker Shabratani Evans remembered Tammy as Ulta's best employee. She said she had been planning to do Tammy's makeup for her birthday that very weekend. Think about that. Tammy McCollum was days away from celebrating her birthday. People had plans to honor her, to celebrate her life. She had no idea those plans would never happen. Her daughter Davalyn put it this way. She was probably as close to perfect, as you would consider a human being able to get close to perfect. She also said her mom was a loving diva, that she liked to get dressed up and do her makeup, that she was a grown woman who was still, in the best way, just a girl. That is the woman we are here to honor tonight. It was the night after Easter Sunday. If you're a Christian family, Easter is one of the most sacred nights of the year. It's the day of resurrection, of new life. For a pastor like Tammy McCollum, it would have been one of the most meaningful days on her entire calendar. But the night after Easter, in the early hours of Monday, April 6, 2026, something happened inside the home on Cardington Court in Northwest Charlotte. Just after 2 a.m., Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department received a call reporting an assault with a deadly weapon. Officers were dispatched to the residence immediately. When they arrived, They found Tammy McCollum inside the home, suffering from gunshot wounds. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Now here is one of the most chilling details of this case. The 911 call had not been placed by a neighbor who heard shots. It had not been placed by a passerby or a family member across town. According to court documents, the affidavit on file, Eddie McCollum, Tammy's husband of over 30 years, made the call to dispatchers himself. And according to those same documents, he admitted to shooting his wife during an argument. When police arrived, detectives questioned him at the scene. He was then taken into custody. And just like that, in the darkest hours before dawn, on the morning after Easter, a pastor of the gospel was gone. Her congregation would wake up that Monday morning and begin learning the unthinkable. Their minister, the woman who had stood before them Sunday after Sunday and declared hope and resurrection, had been shot dead in her own home by the man she had called her greatest blessing. There was no breaking and entering, no stranger, no random act of violence from outside the walls. The danger had been living inside the house. Eddie McCollum is 61 years old. At the time of his arrest, he was employed by Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools as a teaching assistant at Southwest Middle School in the Steel Creek area of Charlotte. Within days of his arrest, the school's principal, Walter Clyburn, sent a message to families notifying them that a staff member had been arrested for an incident unrelated to the school and that the employee had been placed on paid leave. Think about that profile for a moment. A school teaching assistant, a man who worked with children every day, married for over 3 decades to a pastor, a man described, in his own wife's words, as an amazing man of God. And now he is sitting in Mecklenburg County Jail, charged with first-degree murder, held on a $1 million bond. The charge of first-degree murder in North Carolina is the most serious classification possible. It suggests that investigators believe the killing was premeditated or that it occurred under circumstances defined by law as first degree. His next hearing will determine bond status and the forward path of the case. Now I have to talk about something, and I want to do it carefully. The motive in this case has not been officially disclosed by police. Investigators have not publicly said what argument took place in those early morning hours. What led to that gun being fired? What could have broken 30 years of marriage in a single moment? What we know, verified by the affidavit, is that Eddie McCollum told police the shooting occurred during an argument. We do not know what that argument was about. There has been social media speculation. As always in high-profile cases, rumors circulate. I'm not going to repeat unverified claims here because Tammy McCollum deserves the truth, not gossip. Until there is a verified account from law enforcement or court proceedings, the specific cause of that argument remains unknown. What we can speak to is the larger picture. Tammy and Eddie had been together for over 30 years. Their daughter said their relationship was not defined by constant arguments. It was not, from the outside, a troubled marriage. We are talking about people who have been together for 30 years of their lives, Davalin told WSOC-TV. And yet, domestic violence experts and researchers have documented for decades that intimate partner violence does not always follow a pattern visible to outsiders. Families can be shocked. Children can be blindsided. A single catastrophic event can erase a lifetime of outward appearances. Tammy's church, the Well Worship Center, released a statement after her death that said simply and powerfully, "We stand firmly against violence in any form." That line says everything. I want to go back to something. February 2022, 4 years before her death. Tammy McCollum sat down, presumably at her phone, probably smiling, and wrote a public Facebook post about her husband, about her marriage, about the man she was still, after 3 decades, deeply in love with. She wrote 30 years young with 3 exclamation marks. She wrote that she was truly blessed and honored to have been married to this man. She called him an amazing man of God. She said she was looking forward to the next 100 years with him. She wrote, "I love this man with all that is within me." That post is still there, frozen, public, now a haunting monument. No one reading those words in February 2022 could have predicted what April 2026 would look like. And that is precisely what makes this case so unsettling to so many people. It's not a story about a couple with a known violent history. It's not a story where, looking back, the warning signs were obvious, at least not from the outside. Tammy's own daughter, the woman who grew up in that household, said there was a lot of confusion because her father loved her mother, because this wasn't who she knew her parents to be. There's a painful irony in the timing that I don't think we should pass over quietly. This happened the night after Easter. For a pastor, a minister of the resurrection, a woman whose entire calling was built on the promise of life after death, to be killed in the pre-dawn hours of the day after Christianity's holiest celebration. The symbolism is devastating. Digital creator Rick Soup Campbell, reacting publicly to the news, called it a satanic act and wrote a prayer for ministers of the gospel worldwide, saying, "We are under constant attack." The investigation remains active. As of this reporting, no trial date has been set. Eddie McCollum has been charged, booked, and is awaiting the judicial process. The case will move through the Mecklenburg County court system. But for those who knew and loved Tammy McCollum, answers have not yet come, and may not for a long time. As of this video, Eddie McCollum, 61, is charged with first-degree murder in the death of his wife, Pastor Tammy McCollum. He is being held in the Mecklenburg County Jail on a $1 million bond. A bond hearing was scheduled to determine next steps. His employment with Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools has been suspended with pay pending the outcome of legal proceedings. The investigation is still active. The motive has not been officially confirmed. No trial date has been announced. The Well Worship Center in Statesville, Tammy's church, has asked the community to respect the family's privacy, to extend kindness, and to pray. They said they would announce memorial arrangements in due course. A congregation that gathered on Easter Sunday to celebrate resurrection found itself, less than 24 hours later, mourning their minister. 3 children are without their mother. Davalyn McCollum, her daughter, is trying to piece together how a story like her parents ends this way. She laughed through tears as she told reporters about her mom's love of getting dressed up, her love of makeup, her warmth, her near perfection. That portrait of a daughter's grief, joy, and devastation living in the same breath is something that will stay with anyone who has heard it. And I think it's worth saying plainly, on this channel, what this case represents beyond the individual tragedy. Domestic violence does not always look like what we expect. It doesn't always involve a history of visible abuse. It doesn't always come with warning signs that are easy to identify from the outside. Sometimes, and this is the hardest truth, it can erupt once, catastrophically and irreversibly. If you are in a relationship where you feel unsafe, or if you know someone who might be, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call 1-800-799-7233 or text START to 88788. Tammy McCollum spent her life in service to other people. She preached, she prayed, she showed up. She did someone's makeup and made them feel beautiful. She stood before her congregation and spoke about hope. She deserved to grow old. She deserved those 100 more years she wrote about. We will continue to follow this case. As court dates are announced, as the motive becomes clearer through legal proceedings, as justice, we hope, moves forward, we will be here for Tammy and for every family watching who has lost someone the same way. Justice has not yet been served, but it is owed. In memory of Pastor Tammy McCollum, a woman of faith, warmth, and light, whose voice filled a church, whose hands served a community, and whose life was taken far too soon. May she rest in the peace she so freely gave to others. Tammy's own daughter said there was no history of trouble between her parents, yet her father has confessed to the shooting. What do you think we're missing from this story? Drop your thoughts below, and if you believe justice should be served for Tammy, Let me know in the comments.